The first thing everyone noticed was not the expensive black car pulling into the neighborhood. It was the envelope full of money lying torn across the sidewalk while $100 bills fluttered through the afternoon breeze like fallen leaves. The wealthy CEO, who had never heard the word "no," stood frozen in disbelief as the woman he had tried to help walked away without taking a single dollar. She did not cry, beg, or thank him. She simply chose her dignity over his fortune, and in that unforgettable moment, the richest man in the city realized that money could buy almost anything except the right to rescue someone's heart. If you believe kindness is stronger than pride, forgiveness is greater than anger, and everyone deserves a second chance, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. Graham Whitmore had built one of the country's fastest-growing technology companies before turning 42. Business magazines celebrated him as a visionary. Investors praised his instincts. Employees admired his discipline. Yet those who knew him personally understood a painful truth hidden behind every headline. Ever since losing his younger sister years earlier because their family could not afford proper medical treatment, Graham had spent his life believing every problem had a price. Whenever he saw suffering, he reached for his checkbook before offering his hand. His generosity was real, but it came wrapped in control. He believed that saving people meant paying their bills, solving their problems, and removing every obstacle standing in their way. Across the city lived Eliza Rowan, a talented furniture restorer whose small workshop occupied the corner of an aging brick building scheduled for redevelopment. Every chair she repaired carried a story. Every table she restored reminded her that broken things could become beautiful again without losing their history. After losing her husband to a sudden illness 4 years earlier, she had raised her 8-year-old son, Owen, through determination rather than charity. Life was difficult. Some months she barely covered rent. Other months she skipped buying new clothes so Owen could join school activities with his classmates. Still, she refused to let hardship define her worth. Their worlds collided during a community redevelopment meeting held in the bright afternoon sun inside an old town hall. Graham's company planned to purchase several aging properties to construct a modern commercial center that promised new jobs and economic growth. Most people welcomed the proposal, but Eliza quietly explained how dozens of family-owned businesses would disappear forever if the project continued unchanged. She spoke without anger. She simply reminded everyone that communities were built by people, not buildings. Graham listened with polite patience before approaching her after the meeting. He admired her courage and believed he had found an easy solution. He offered enough money for her to purchase a larger workshop anywhere she wanted. To him, it seemed generous beyond imagination. Instead of gratitude, Eliza looked at the envelope, then back into his eyes with remarkable calm. She thanked him sincerely for wanting to help but explained that what she needed was not a payout. She needed the chance to keep earning her own future. Accepting money would solve today's problem while stealing tomorrow's purpose. She tore open the envelope, allowing the cash to scatter across the sidewalk before walking away beside her son, leaving Graham standing among fluttering bills and stunned witnesses. News of the incident spread quickly. Some praised Eliza's integrity. Others called her foolish. Graham himself felt something unfamiliar. For the first time, his wealth had failed him completely. Days passed, yet he could not stop thinking about her words. He replayed them during meetings, interviews, and business dinners. Every success suddenly felt strangely hollow. He began questioning whether his generosity had always been more about easing his own guilt than understanding someone else's needs. Curiosity led him back to Eliza's workshop one sunny afternoon. This time he arrived without lawyers, assistants, or financial offers. He simply observed from across the street as customers carried worn furniture inside. He watched Eliza patiently teaching Owen how to sand rough wood instead of rushing through the work. There was laughter despite the modest surroundings. There was pride despite the uncertainty. Eventually she noticed him. She welcomed him politely but with understandable caution. Graham apologized for assuming money was the answer to everything. Instead of offering another check, he asked a simple question that surprised even himself. He wanted to understand what she actually needed. Eliza answered honestly. The building required structural repairs. Small business owners needed time to relocate if redevelopment became unavoidable. Local apprentices needed opportunities to learn traditional craftsmanship before it disappeared. None of those problems required someone to rescue them. They required someone powerful enough to listen. Those words stayed with Graham long after he left. Over the following weeks, his behavior slowly changed. Rather than forcing immediate construction, he postponed demolition plans and invited independent business owners to planning sessions. Architects redesigned parts of the project to preserve several historic storefronts. Instead of replacing local workshops, they integrated them into the new development. Investors complained about delays. Some board members questioned his judgment. Graham accepted criticism without retreating. Meanwhile, Eliza faced her own struggles. Orders slowed because customers feared the neighborhood would soon disappear. Bills accumulated. Owen noticed the worry hidden behind his mother's brave smile. One afternoon he innocently suggested they should simply accept the CEO's money. Eliza hugged him tightly and explained that accepting kindness was never wrong, but surrendering the belief that they could build their own future would slowly change who they were inside. She wanted him to grow into a man who valued effort more than easy answers. Her words became a lesson neither of them expected Graham would also learn. Months later, a violent summer storm damaged several older buildings, including Eliza's workshop. Sunlight returned the next morning, revealing shattered windows and a partially collapsed roof. Volunteers gathered throughout the day to help local businesses clean debris. Graham arrived wearing ordinary work clothes instead of an expensive suit. He carried lumber rather than paperwork. Without making speeches or seeking attention, he spent hours lifting beams, clearing broken bricks, and repairing damaged shelves alongside everyone else. Many people assumed he would eventually announce another donation. Instead, he quietly worked until his hands blistered. Eliza noticed something had changed. He no longer looked like a man trying to become someone's hero. He looked like someone learning how to stand beside another person instead of above them. As rebuilding continued over the following weeks, Graham introduced skilled contractors willing to train local volunteers rather than replacing them. His company supplied materials but allowed neighborhood leaders to direct restoration according to their own priorities. Every decision emphasized partnership instead of dependency. The transformation reached beyond construction projects. Employees inside Graham's corporation began noticing changes as well. He stopped making every decision alone. He listened longer during meetings. Junior staff members found themselves genuinely heard for the first time. The culture of the company slowly shifted from competition toward collaboration. At the same time, Eliza accepted something equally difficult. Independence did not mean refusing every helping hand. It meant recognizing the difference between support and control. She learned that allowing trustworthy people to stand beside her did not diminish her strength. Real partnership honored both dignity and compassion. One bright afternoon, the city unveiled the completed redevelopment project. Historic workshops stood proudly beside modern offices. Small cafes overlooked newly planted gardens. Local artists displayed handmade creations throughout the public square. Families filled the sidewalks. Children laughed as musicians performed nearby. The neighborhood had not been erased. It had been renewed. Graham watched quietly from the edge of the celebration while community leaders received recognition. He intentionally stayed out of the spotlight. Then something unexpected happened. The mayor publicly thanked dozens of volunteers before inviting Eliza to speak about the neighborhood's journey. She described resilience, shared responsibility, and the importance of preserving places where ordinary dreams quietly grow. Near the end of her speech, she turned toward Graham. She explained that true generosity begins when people stop asking how quickly they can fix someone else's life and start asking how they can walk beside them instead. The applause lasted several minutes. For Graham, those words meant more than every business award he had ever received. As seasons passed, a friendship gradually blossomed between them. It grew without grand gestures or dramatic declarations. Graham occasionally visited the workshop to learn basic woodworking from Owen, who delighted in correcting the CEO whenever he made mistakes. Eliza laughed more freely than she had in years. Graham discovered that building a child's birdhouse with imperfect hands brought him more peace than signing another $1 million contract. Their affection deepened because neither tried to change the other. Graham no longer believed love meant solving every problem. Eliza no longer believed accepting support threatened her independence. Together they created something balanced, honest, and lasting. Years later, visitors often admired the thriving neighborhood without knowing the story behind it. They saw successful businesses, restored buildings, and smiling families. Few realized everything had begun with scattered money blowing across a sidewalk and a woman brave enough to refuse what everyone else would have accepted. The greatest miracle was never that a wealthy CEO helped save a struggling community. The real miracle was that a proud man discovered love could not be purchased, negotiated, or forced. It had to be earned through humility, patience, and respect. He learned that rescuing someone can sometimes keep them from discovering their own strength, while standing beside them allows both hearts to grow. Before we reach the end of this journey, we'd love to hear from you. Have you ever experienced a moment when someone respected your dignity instead of trying to solve your life for you, or have you learned that true love means walking beside someone rather than carrying them? Leave your meaningful comment below because your story may encourage someone else today. In the years that followed, Graham and Eliza never forgot the lesson that had transformed both their lives. The workshop became a place where young apprentices learned forgotten crafts, not because someone handed them success, but because someone believed they were capable of earning it. Graham continued supporting community projects, yet he always began by listening before acting. Eliza continued restoring old furniture, reminding every customer that broken things are not worthless. Sometimes they simply need patient hands and someone willing to see the beauty that still remains. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. Remember that the strongest love is not the kind that rushes to rescue. It is the kind that quietly believes in another person's strength until they believe in it too, proving that hope, respect, and compassion can restore even the most wounded hearts.